The ice cream trend has been blowing up on the internet for many weeks now. But who are the girls that started this trend? And how did this seemingly niche idol music spread to Western countries? These are some of the topics I'll be discussing in this video. But before that, welcome to the April edition of Monthly Dose of J-Pop, where I'll talk about notable J-Pop news from the past month and songs I've been listening to. Now let's dive into one of the biggest internet phenomena right now, AiScream. If you haven't been living under a rock, you've most definitely heard of this song somewhere on YouTube or TikTok. Even if you have been living under a rock, like me, the statement still stands. So how did this all happen? Well, AiScream is the debut single of the newly formed limited-time idol group, AiScream. They're part of Love Live, the biggest anime idol franchise. AiScream is the first crossover unit in Love Live's long history. The group consists of 3 members from 3 separate Love Live idol groups. Kurosawa Ruby from Aqua, played by Furihara Ai. Uehara Ayumu from Nijigasaki High School Idol Club, played by Onishi Aguri. And Wakana Shiki from Liela, played by Okuma Wakana. All 3 of them are part of the Love Live All Night Nippon radio show. So AiScream was originally formed as a fan service for the radio listeners. But with their recent success, the management is surely reconsidering that limited time label. As for how a Japanese idol song went viral globally, what's fascinating is that there's usually a cultural and language barrier that keeps trends from reaching other continents. Hai Yorokonde was the big TikTok song in Japan last year, but it had very little impact outside of Asia. So why AiScream? There are actually 2 routes. The song, alongside with its dance moves, first took off in Japan, as you'd expect. But being part of one of the biggest anime franchises, it naturally reached anime fans around the world. Still, that's more of a subculture trend. What truly pushed it into the mainstream was K-pop idols. Japanese and Korean trends are often interconnected, and since Japan is one of the most important markets for K-pop, many idols not only learn Japanese, but also regularly follow Japanese trends. So when Korean idols started doing the AiScream dance, that's when mainstream audiences in Western countries began to take notice. And don't argue with me about anime being mainstream. Marvel, until Endgame, was mainstream. American or European football, depending on where you live, is mainstream. The only place I'd consider anime truly mainstream is Japan, and maybe some other Asian countries. When you walk into a 7-Eleven and instead of Marvel characters, every candy and drink has anime characters on them, that's mainstream. When the highest grossing films in the country aren't superhero movies, but Demon Slayer and Spirited Away, that's mainstream. Anyway, that's pretty much the story of AiScream. I hope their viral songs help introduce more people to anime and Japanese idols. Love Live has been getting more international attention than ever, which is awesome, and I hope to make a video about them someday. Moving on to the regular J-pop news. XG and Utada Hikaru performed at the 2025 Coachella. It was XG's first time and Utada Hikaru's second time since 2022. I will admit my personal highlight was Ben Senpu's performance featuring Brian May. It was really epic, but I digress. XG is in the gray area between J-pop and K-pop, but I'm gonna mention them anyway, because it's always nice to see Japanese artists at Coachella, following the appearances of YOASOBI, Hatachi Gakko, and Number 8 last year. It's also quite impressive that for their first trip to Coachella, XG was selected to headline the Sahara stage, a feat no other Japanese artist has achieved before. XG and Utada Hikaru were not the only ones performing in America during April. Yonezu Kenshi wrapped up his world tour in New York and LA after visiting London, Paris, and various Asian countries. Meanwhile, Lisa recently added another date to her North America tour in the coming June, with 2 concerts in both New York and LA, plus 1 in Mexico City. While Japanese artists are thriving overseas, the Music Awards Japan also announced their final nominees across all categories, with the ceremony fast approaching in May. However, there was one pretty boneheaded mistake when nominating Best Anime Songs, because they accidentally included Ado's show in that category, which has 0 connections with anime. So they apologized to Ado and will be adding 1 more anime song to round up the nominees, alongside Bling Bang Bang Born, Lilac, Daizerokan, and Idol. This is where the award starts to lose me a bit. You would think that they'd be celebrating the best songs and artists from 2024, but nope. Daizerokan came out in 2022, and Idol came out in 2023. Okay, fine, that includes songs from recent years, but then why stop at 2022? Why not nominate Homura or New Genesis? The premise of MAJ is to increase international fans. How an award show plans to achieve that, I'm not sure, but having a weird nominating system most certainly does not help. I hope at least the voters actually listen to the songs. Take that, Academy. I'm gonna briefly touch on the major categories. These are the nominees for New Artist of the Year. Yeah, they should just call it Best New Artist. Nothing surprising about this list, and I don't think there's any outrageous snubs. The winner is probably Tsuki, who almost gave me a heart attack on April Fools when she trolled everyone by announcing her retirement. As a 15-year-old singer, because she's now 16, she also announced that she's holding her first ever concert at Budokan. And when a new artist can pull off something as incredible as that, she definitely deserves the award. Next up is Artist of the Year. Again, no surprises. People might argue Ado should be on the list, but she hasn't had any massive hits lately. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them won the award. Except maybe Vondi. CreepyNuts had 2 of the biggest anime songs in 2024. Mrs. Green Apple continues to be the most popular artist in Japan, and most likely this year as well. YOASOBI is still the most listened J-pop artist globally. Fujikaze made it to Kohaku again last year and has a massive international fanbase. Personally, I would say CreepyNuts or Mrs. Green Apple, just for the number of hits they had last year. The last one is Song of the Year. Abatsu by Rosé and Bruno Mars was nominated because they had to show how international they are, and it was one of the biggest hits globally. Bling Bang Bang Born, Michide Yuku, and Lilac all made sense. But again, why is Idol on the list when the rest are from last year? I get it's likely for the sake of fan service, but squeezing one song in really makes you question how serious they are with MAJ. Now for the last piece of news. Mila announced that she's taking a break. She has been on the road since her debut and even starred in her first movie this year, so it's definitely a well-earned break to recharge. And that brings us to the last segment. Just to be clear, I'm not including AiScream on my most listened songs, because it has infested my algorithm after researching for this video. At this point, hearing Ruby-chan actually scares me. Anyway, coming in at number 5 is Saishu Heiki Atashi by Haruna. I don't listen to Vocaloid that much, but something about this song really clicked with me. There's a recent trend in J-pop where songs dive straight into the verse, without an intro and build-up, and Saishu Heiki Atashi is the latest example. The guitar also reminds me of the early Yorishika, which I still think is their best era. At number 4 is Modoki Step by Nichiobi no Maison de. This song came out at the perfect time, right after I made Story of Tsuyu a month ago. Nichiobi no Maison de is a new music project under Maison de, one of the most exciting music projects right now. They're known for featuring different singers and producers with every song, but with Nichiobi no Maison de, the former vocalist of Tsuyu, Lei, will be the sole vocalist and collaborate with numerous producers. Hopefully less murderous this time. I'm just glad that Lei gets to continue sharing her amazing voice with the world. She and the fans deserve it. At number 3 is Irodori, covered by Superfly. When you have one of the best female singers covering this Mr. Children classic, it's bound to be on the list. Superfly announced her first cover album last year, which will be released in June, and I'm very excited, because it's going to include songs from Wano Kuroku, Oda Kazumasa, Back Number, and more. It has the potential to become my favorite album this year. Down to number 2, Sharuru, covered by Ado. I was super stoked when Ado was chosen to cover Sharuru, because it is one of the best Vocaloid songs in recent years, and is extremely difficult to sing. It's always been on my secret wish list of songs I hope Ado would cover, and here we are. And that brings us to number 1, Nyola Daito by Kurana. It's such a joy to listen to Kurana's astounding vocal control, absolutely one of a kind. Kurana is quickly becoming one of my most anticipated singers since her feature on Lyo from Maison de. She is one popular anime away from being one of the major international J-pop singers, and I for one cannot wait for that day to come. This has been Cushion. See you next time.